Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. So before we get to the main topic of today's video, I just want to touch real briefly on the video that I posted last night regarding the strange objects that were seen above downtown Milwaukee. Now, if you haven't seen that video, go back and check it out, but suffice it to say, there's a lot of controversy about that footage, wherein which a local news team captured on one of their tower cameras that overlooks the downtown area what appeared to be a large grouping of glowing objects, flying back and forth, making strange movements, and it was later at least pointed out by that same news team and others that the mysterious glowing objects had likely been a massive flock of birds, as was later shown in other more high-resolution footage from the same area, showing what appeared to be seagulls all over the place on the same night. And so when I posted that video last night, I basically put forth the evidence that we have thus far, which is that it looks as if those objects were birds, due mainly to the fact that on the same night and in the same area, we got higher resolution footage of what appeared to be the same flock over the same area. And, you know, that is what we had at that time and what we still have. Now, I know a lot of you still don't believe that these objects here are birds. Many of you spoke about the fact that, well, birds can't glow and that these things do not move like birds, and I will give you that. They don't look like birds, but what also needs to be pointed out is that this tower camera here is extremely low res. It can give you some pretty strange effects, such as the movements of the objects, the disappearing and reappearing of them, the streaks being left off of the objects due again to the low-res camera. But still, I was kind of shocked by some of the just straight-out hatred by those of you who maybe didn't agree with me that these were likely birds, or at least that's what the evidence showed, but just the vitriol that I received by attempting to be subjective. And that's all I was trying to do, was look at the evidence that we have thus far and let you guys know where it's pointing to. And after that, all of a sudden now I'm being called a disinformation artist, that the government has gotten to me, that I am a controlled opposition. Look guys, as I've said before, the only thing that controls me is insomnia, and that couldn't be more true. But I just want to tell you guys that if any new information or footage comes out regarding this footage that proves that it was something else other than a natural occurrence, then you can bet I will post about it here. But at this point, and I should have said this in the original video, that what was recorded over Milwaukee has not been confirmed to be the birds that were shown in the second video, okay? And that I was simply attempting to show you guys all of the evidence and at least where it was leaning. But still, and as many of you pointed out, it's good to keep an open mind about these things, because sometimes something may look like something, and that is easily explained when experience has shown that there are instances where that is not the case and it turns out to be something completely different. So for now, let's just keep this footage on hold until we can find more evidence. But I'm with you guys, and if you followed the channel for any extended period of time, you'll know that I have been on the front lines here since day one of uncovering the truth, whether that be through documenting thousands of pieces of unexplained UFO footage, calling out NASA, the government, the powers that be for their lies and deceit, and the continued search and fight for disclosure that I know we all care so much about. So I want you guys to remember, I'm on your team. We are all one community and family, but I also want you to know that I will never shy away from giving you my opinion, whether it's right, whether it's wrong. I want you guys to see all sides of a story, just as I want you guys to counter my theories with those that maybe I haven't thought of yet. So with that, let's continue this search for truth, and that leads me to today's news story, which is about one of the most chilling and unexplained, unsolved mysteries of the 20th century, and that has become known as the Dyatlov Pass incident, which specifically relates to an area in Russia, again called the Dyatlov Pass, which is an area located in the snowy northern Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union, or now Russia. And so if you haven't heard of this incident, I'll try to break it down real fast, but there's a ton of information that you guys need to know about this, and you can do further research. But the Dyatlov Pass incident relates to the notorious and unexplained deaths of a group of hikers back in 1959. Where a group of graduate students from the Ural Polytechnic Institute in the former Soviet Union, who were, by the way, also experienced hikers, planned to trek some 350 kilometers on skis through the forest and the northern Urals to Mount Otterton. On February 12, 1959, the 9 hikers failed to report to the scheduled endpoint. As a result, a rescue operation was launched soon afterwards, and the group's tent was eventually found on the mountain slope on February 26th. And this is where things get strange. So what seems to have happened was that after being sidetracked by a snowstorm, the group of 9 pitched a tent on the eastern slope and later died that same night. The police and military investigators charged with solving the case were baffled by what they found when they discovered that the skiers' tent had been sliced open from the inside and quickly abandoned. Their belongings were still inside, and they found footprints in the snow of 8 or 9 people who were wearing socks, a single shoe, or were barefoot. The footsteps led towards a dense forest but disappeared at around 500 meters. The first 2 bodies that they discovered were barefoot and dressed only in their underwear, and were found at the edge of the forest near the remains of a fire. The next 3 bodies were found between the fire and the tent, suggesting that they had been trying to return to the tent. Autopsies failed to find any evidence of foul play, and an inquest concluded that all 5 had passed due to hypothermia. Fast forward to 2 months later, the partially dressed bodies of the other 4 members of the team were discovered in a forest ravine not far from the first 2 bodies. They appeared to have suffered traumatic pressure or crush injuries, and the tongue of one of them had been ripped out. Other than that, there were no other external injuries, but later tests conducted on their bodies and clothing showed traces of radiation. The investigators finally concluded that the skiers had died because they had encountered a, quote, natural force that they were unable to overcome. Public access to the site was even banned for 3 years after, and the results of the investigation were classified. So real quickly here, let's just go over some of the bullet points of this incident. We have the tent that seemed to have been cut from the inside, with the individuals fleeing, trying to get away from something. The bodies of these people were later found, some as far as 1.5 kilometers from their camp, wearing only underwear and socks, some barefoot. The bodies also showed signs of a struggle, one woman missing her tongue. Some of the missing hikers were not found until months later, further into the woods on the mountainside. Then we have the final report, stating only that they had passed due to a, quote, unknown compelling force, and that their clothes and bodies were found to emanate radiation. And so, as I said at the beginning, this incident remains one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries of the 20th century, along with the Soviet investigation back in 1959, which failed to establish the cause of what happened to these people. And over the years, there have been a number of conspiracy theories as to what occurred here, from an avalanche to secret military testing, Bigfoot, an alien abduction, the list goes on, and I doubt we'll ever know for sure. But what we can tell you is that as of today, and since then, there have been a number of people that have also gone missing in this same area of mountains, including a man that was just discovered in today's new report, identified as Alexander Andreev, was and has been reported missing in the Dyatlov Pass. After venturing on an individual journey into this remote region, Russian media cite local police sources as saying the tourist has not checked in for about 3 weeks. He was expected to return from his hiking trip back on the 27th, but never did. A group of local volunteers have launched a rescue mission in an attempt to find the missing man, but so far the group has only found a message from him dated February 17th, in which he said that, quote, everything was going well. Now, as I said earlier, others have gone missing over the years. Back in September of 2017, a member of another tourist group, quote, died suddenly while hiking in the area. The details of the incident were not revealed at the time, but it was later established that the man died from, quote, cardiac arrest, although many don't believe that to be true since they classified the reason for so long. But now it appears that we may have another victim of this, some say, cursed area of the Russian mountains, where those original 9 hikers went missing so many years ago, and it remains to this day a mystery. And it truly is frightening to think what may have happened that night with these hikers back in 1959. And well, that's my question for you guys. And by all means, if you are from this area or have any more information about the Dyatlov Pass incident, post it down below, and hopefully they will find this missing hiker. So with that, thank you all for stopping by today. Be sure to stay tuned. I've got more videos in the works. Follow me on social media, and I will see you all back in just a bit.